I'm Aditya, a doctor by profession and an author of two best-selling novels, namely You and Me, It's Complicated and Until Love Sets Us Apart. Hey, I'm talking to GOGO magazine, and today I'm going to answer a few questions that they've asked, and it is going to be a lovely session while I'll be, answering to their questions, and the viewers can learn a lot out of this. So the first question they've asked is, how did your journey as a writer begin? I started writing when I was 18, and the inspiration behind this is my personal story as well. But I would say that when I turned 13, my mom and my dad inculcated these values of reading. So I started reading Enid Blyton series, and by the time I turned 18, I realized that okay, I need to write something. I need to come out with a story which has to reach to the audience and to my readers, and that's how it all began. I first wrote You and Me It's Complicated, which actually I just printed 500 copies. I didn't go out to a traditional publisher or a self-publishing company or something. I was unaware of this. So what I did is I just went to a local printing press and got 500 copies printed, and once these 500 copies were printed, I distributed it among my friends and families, and that's how I earned my few initial readers, I can say. And the positive response that I received from these books helped me in this book. Actually, You and Me It's Complicated helped me write a couple of other books. So till now I'm just 2 books old, but I've written 6 unpublished books. Next question is, which was your first book and when did you finish it? Okay, I think I already answered it, but it's You and Me It's Complicated. It technically it was my first book because I printed it for my family and friends. But Until Love Sets Us Apart is my first ever published book, because I believe that printing just 500 copies and distributing it to your friends and family is not what actually publishing means. So Until Love Sets Us Apart released in 2018 when I turned 21, and I'd written this when I was 18. So Fingerprint published this book, and it became an instant national bestseller, of course, thanks to all my readers. The next question is, where did you get the inspiration of your first book? So, like I've mentioned in Until Love Sets Us Apart, I got my inspiration from a news portal. Like, we have a lot of things that keep happening around us. So, I believe that we just have to be aware of things, like what all social problems are prevalent over here. And I believe that whatever came up in the news, I got the gist of it, and I made a plot around that social message, and I wanted to blend it with romance and thriller. So that's how it all started, and Until Love Sets Us Apart released, and it all I mean all my readers liked it, and I'm thankful. Who inspired you to be a writer? Well, it's not there's not one person who inspired me, but actually it happened naturally. Maybe a few books that I read inspired me, or maybe my own story, or I don't know what. But to be honest, I never wanted to become a writer. I had never planned to become a writer, I must say. And it so happened that when I turned 18, that I just got carried away with a lot of reading stuff and literature, and I felt that okay, I have a story which I need to tell to the audience, and that's how it began. So I can say it's a mixture of a lot of readers, a lot of writers, then the reading audience, my own story, and it's a complete blend of things that inspired me to write. Okay, so next question is, what are the odds in an author as a career option, and how did you face them? So this is a very interesting question, and readers keep asking me that what is that one thing that you did and your book came out. So I think publishing is the most difficult thing. Publishing your first ever book and finding a publisher is the most difficult thing. I believe that writing is very easy, and many budding writers would agree with me. You have to face rejections, and that is the toughest thing to do. And not I by rejections I don't mean that just one or two rejections, but 10, 20, 30, I don't know how many, but even the most of the successful authors have faced rejections, and you need to be strong. You need to think that okay, someday there's going to be a publisher who's going to accept my story, and then I'm going to make my debut. And once you get your debut book out, the main challenging thing I feel as the author is to find the right audience. Okay, so to find the right audience, you need to invest a lot of your efforts. By efforts, I mean into marketing, into distribution, and everything. So you need to be well prepared. So as a career option, I believe that you need to have a parallel career to set your writing career, because by being just a writer you cannot earn. You cannot earn as in your first or your second book. You need to have some other foundation which is going to help you to invest money into marketing of your book. So I believe that you need to have two careers initially, and once you are established, then you can always it's your I mean it's your personal choice. You can just pursue writing or screenwriting or whatever your career is. So initially you need two options, because writing is not going to help you earn a lot of money initially in your first when your first or your second book releases. So yeah. So yeah, the next question is, what is the uh, work schedule when you are writing, and how long does it take for you to write? So well, since I'm a doctor, so I just completed my MBBS and I'm pursuing my further education in post graduation. So I do not find time, but then I believe that there are 24 hours in a day, and if we divide this time into a proper schedule and make a proper timetable, we can always succeed in writing books. So I'm a very fast writer, so I follow a very uh, fixed pattern. Like I get up at a fixed time. I dedicate the time whatever I need to my profession and to my studies. And then when it's night, say midnight or later, I just take a coffee and I start writing. And I'm a very fast writer. I write 2500 to 3000 words in a day. So for a 50,000 words, it takes me around 20-25 days to complete the entire story, and another 20 days to edit it. So I work like I make a timetable and then I work on it. So I think that's what helps, and I believe that other writers should also follow. Okay. So the next question is how difficult it is to get a book published. Okay. So as I said, that it is very difficult, because if you are from the industry, from the book industry, like so maybe your father has written or somebody from your family has written a book, then it's easier for you. But if you are completely out of this industry and you don't know anything, so you need to at least invest 2 years in doing a lot of research of how things go. You need to maybe you can consult an established author, or maybe watch videos like you are watching right now. So there you can learn that getting a book published is very difficult in India. I mean, if you have a self-publishing company and if you have ample of money, there you can always get it published, but then you won't be able to distribute the book offline. Your book will be available on Amazon and maybe Flipkart and all, but it won't be available in Crossword and other major stores. So I believe that you need a traditional publisher, and for a traditional publisher, you need your script to be the best ever script, because there are thousands of submissions that come to a single publisher, and I have discussed this with my editor as well, the editor of the company I work in. There are thousands of scripts that come, and they hardly get time to read each and every script. The first ever synopsis that you send is the make or break situation for yourself, because whatever you write in the synopsis is what is going to make an impression, is going to create that impression. So if your first ever sentence, I've seen this with many writers, that the first ever sentence they write is grammatically incorrect. So you need to edit it properly, and you need to be very much prepared. Your script needs to be very much perfect. And when you send this to the publisher, you need to have a literary agent, or you need to actually go out there and invest a lot of time in making those connections with the publisher, because otherwise I find it very much difficult. for a debut author to get a traditional publisher, because a self-published company, of course, it's good, but it's not going to be as good as a traditional company. Finding a traditional publisher is difficult, challenging, but then if you invest and if you plan it properly, you can achieve your goal. So the next question is, what makes a good story? Okay, so what makes a good story is, you should have a very unique plot. By unique plot, I mean, okay, I know that there are 7 to 8 common love stories. Since I write romance, I'm going to talk about love stories. So there are 7 to 8 common stories, and you just need to make those permutations and combinations. So the plot remains the same, but the way you write them makes it unique. So you need to have your own creation. Do not copy some other author only because he is successful. Write whatever you believe in, and that is what is going to make it different from the other authors, and that is what is going to attract to the publishers. So I think good characters, unique plot, and good writing skills is what is going to make it a good story. So I always keep saying this, that a writer needs to be a good reader. So you need to write. If you want to write, you need to read a lot of books. So the next question is, can loving somebody immensely set one apart? What is the one thing you would like to say about relationship nowadays? Okay, so yes, loving somebody immensely can set you apart. I believe in this because a lot of these things depend on destiny. You love somebody and somebody loves you is not enough these days, because destiny is which what plays an important role in a successful relationship. So yes, destiny can support, can set you apart. And coming to the second question, that is, what is one thing you would like to say about relationship nowadays? I believe that it's complicated. People are complicated, and people might continue to remain complicated. By this, I mean that people don't know what they want in their lives. They keep on experimenting about relationships. So, I personally believe that one has to be very much clear about what he or she wants in life. So, just think about what you want and then fall into a relationship. Don't just keep on experimenting. That okay, he or she might be the right person, and then suddenly you believe that he or she is not meant for you. Okay, it's a personal call, but I believe that one should be clear what they want in life. Next question is, uh, do you have any suggestions and advices for the budding writers? Okay, this is an important question, and I would like to address it by saying that budding writers need to have a lot of courage, okay, and they need to experiment with their writing. Don't just follow an author blindly. Because somebody writes romance or because mythology or thrillers are working these days, don't just write for the audience, I mean, or for the publishers for minting money. I personally believe that write what you believe in. You should believe in your own art. You should write whatever comes to your mind. So once you are done with this, go about researching. Research about the best ever publishers that are available in India or available in your local regions. Then go about experimenting and doing a bit of research about distribution and marketing, of course. So once you're done with this, once you're prepared, make your script so much, grammatically correct that no publisher can reject it. Edit it to its best ever level, and then send it to a literary agent or a publisher. Of course, a literary agent will help you in this procedure because he knows the industry better than you know. So, always consulting a literary agent or maybe an established author to help you finding a publisher is always helpful. And by this, I mean that okay, many authors, what they think is that okay, we are not ready to invest money in our first book, because they believe that okay, many a times it's happened that people write when they enter into college lives and they do not have that monetary support to invest in marketing and distribution. And what publisher believes nowadays is that they are going to invest in printing, but the author has to take guarantee about sales. So this is the good or the bad scenario. How I don't know how you take it, but you have to have a monetary support. And if you do not have a monetary support, wait for a few years, get that monetary support, and then go and find a publisher. Because if your first book fails, you won't be able to publish your second book ever. Traditionally, I mean, if it's a self-published book, you always have the money and you can publish it and sell a few thousand copies. Look, for a traditional publisher, you need to have that monetary support. And if you have it, then only go about releasing your first ever book. If you don't, then please stop. And the second most important thing I would say is, don't just rely on your publisher for marketing. You have to invest money, and you have to give in your efforts as well, because they do not believe, they believe in your story, but they do not believe in the author. So to establish yourself, you need to invest, you need to market yourself, and make that platform for yourself where the publisher will start believing in you and will start marketing and सारे घोड़े खोल देना जैसे कहते हैं वो करेंगे वो लोग. So yeah, the next question is, how do you face your critics? Okay, so critics का क्या है? If it's a reader, I value them. But if it's a blogger or a critic, and who's a paid critic and who's given a negative review about it, then I don't value them. Why I say this is because many a times I believe this, that most of the critics are paid. They want money. If you give them money, they write positive things about you. If you don't give them money, they write negative about you. So I don't believe in these critics, and I don't go about purchasing reviews, because I believe it's fake. You should believe in your art, and whatever your readers write about your book, or on Amazon, or maybe whatever portal it is, that's what is true. So if even if it's a negative review, I value it, because I'm going to learn something out of it. And if it's a positive review, of course, thank you so much. That's what I say to my critics, and I believe my readers are my critics. I don't believe in the paid reviewers. So yeah. So the next thing is, how has your family been supportive? Yes, of course, my family has been supportive, because initially when I said that I printed 500 copies of my first book, You and Me, It's Complicated, which actually got published later traditionally, uh, yes, they supported me monetarily, I mean, financially, and personally as well, because they've motivated me always. And because they have motivated me, I was able to write two successful books, and of course, six other unpublished novels that are soon going to release. So they played a major role in my life. How's life been on other side of the books? Okay, life as a doctor, well, it's challenging now since Corona and all is going out there. COVID-19 is challenging me and other doctors as well. So it's challenging, but I love challenges, because if you don't have those crests and troughs, that roller coaster ride in your life, then how can you call it a life? If you have a plain, smooth life, maybe a sad life or a happy life, it's not what life is all about. You need to have that roller coaster, and that's what is going to make you strong. That's what is going to, get the best out of you as a writer, as a doctor, and as a person, as a human being, I believe. So I think life should be challenging, life should be adventurous, and life should be thrilling and romantic, of course, like that. Okay, so the next question is, how's life in quarantine? Okay, so life is pretty much boring, I can say, but I haven't experienced quarantine as yet, because since I'm a doctor, I have to go out to the hospital as well. So I haven't experienced quarantine as many of you might have experienced. But of course, you miss out on those entertainment, and going out, hanging out with your friends and family. But to be honest, it is the need of the day, I can say, that we need to be inside our houses. And since it's a pandemic and it's a disaster that has happened, we need to be very much honest to ourselves and be in our own houses and not impose threat on others as well as ourselves. So please stay in. The message I would like to give to all of you is that please stay in your houses while we doctors stay out to support you and for your own lives. So please help us by staying in. And I believe that India has been doing really well when it comes to restricting the spread of pandemic crisis that has arrived. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Hope you've liked it and you've learned something out of it. Do read my books as well. You and Me, It's Complicated and Until Love Sets Us Apart, and let me know if you've liked it. And do like, share, comment, and subscribe to this video channel because you're going to meet a lot of personalities on this channel. It's a fantastic platform to learn and know what other people are doing in this world and how you can achieve your own goals and plan your entire life and schedule. So guys, thank you so much.